There is often a room in the house that feels different to a cat, even if nothing about it seems remarkable to us. It might not be the brightest space or the warmest, or the one where people gather most often. And yet, when the world shifts even slightly, this is where the cat goes. Not in a hurry, not in fear, but with certainty. From the outside, this choice can look accidental or habitual or even stubborn. But cats do very little by accident. What appears to be preference is usually something deeper, a slow, internal decision shaped by experience, memory, and nervous system comfort. The room becomes familiar not because it is perfect, but because it has proven itself consistent. Welcome to Cat Facts Funny. In this episode, we're exploring why cats so often choose one specific room as their safe place, and why that choice matters more than it seems. Not as a behavioral quirk, but as a quiet strategy for staying regulated in a world they cannot fully control. Safety is not a moment, it is a pattern. Cats do not decide that a place is safe after a single good experience. Safety is built through repetition, through the absence of threat, through many uneventful returns that teach the body it does not need to stay alert. A room becomes safe when nothing surprising happens there, especially during moments when the cat is most vulnerable. Over time, the cat's nervous system begins to associate that space with lower effort. Muscles soften more quickly. Sleep arrives without interruption. Breathing becomes slower without conscious intent. The body remembers these sensations, even when the mind is occupied elsewhere, and the room quietly earns its role as a refuge. This is why cats often return to the same place during stress, even if better options exist. They are not searching for comfort in the abstract. They are returning to a pattern their body already trusts. Memory lives in places, not thoughts. Cats carry memory differently than humans do. They do not replay events as stories, but as physical impressions tied to locations. A sound that startled them once can mark a space for years, just as a calm recovery can soften a place permanently. A safe room often holds layered memories that are invisible to us. A peaceful nap during a storm. A quiet afternoon when no one asked for interaction. A moment of illness followed by uninterrupted rest. These experiences do not announce themselves, but they accumulate, shaping how the cat feels when they cross the threshold. Eventually, the room itself becomes a signal. The cat does not need to assess what will happen there. Their body already knows. That certainty is what makes the space valuable. Control without conflict. Cats seek control but not dominance. What they value most is the ability to regulate distance without confrontation. A safe room offers exactly that. It allows the cat to exist without negotiating attention, without needing to explain boundaries, without being watched. These rooms often include vantage points rather than hiding spots. A doorway where the cat can observe movement without participating. A corner that allows retreat without isolation. A window that connects them to the outside world while keeping their body protected. Control for a cat is often quiet and indirect. By choosing one room consistently, the cat avoids repeated decision-making. They do not need to test every space. They simply return to the one that has never demanded more than they were ready to give. Why the choice rarely changes. Humans often try to improve a cat's environment by offering new beds, new furniture, or new spaces that seem objectively better. And sometimes cats do enjoy these additions. But when stress appears, many will still return to their original safe room. This is because cats prioritize predictability over optimization. A space that is slightly less comfortable but completely known is safer than a space that is more comfortable but unpredictable. Change, even positive change, requires vigilance, and vigilance costs energy. The safe room is where the cat conserves that energy. It is where they do not need to scan, evaluate, or prepare. In that sense, it is not just a place of rest, but a place of recovery. What this reveals about trust. When a cat chooses a room within your home as their safe place, it does not mean they are withdrawing from you. In many cases, it means they trust the environment enough to self-regulate without constant proximity. They know they can leave, and just as importantly, they know they can return. Cats who have a reliable place to retreat often show more confidence elsewhere. Because when escape is always available, exploration becomes less risky. Independence and closeness are not opposites for cats. They support each other. Trust grows best when it is not tested. A safe room allows the relationship to breathe. When the safe room begins to include you, over time, something subtle can change. The cat does not abandon their safe room, but the definition of safety begins to widen. A chair you sit in regularly starts to carry the same calm weight as the room itself. Your presence becomes part of the pattern rather than an interruption to it. This shift rarely announces itself. It may look like a cat choosing to rest nearby instead of behind a door, or remaining in the room even as you move around quietly. What matters is not closeness, but the absence of tension. The cat is no longer deciding whether to leave. They are deciding how to stay. When this happens, it is not because the cat has given up their need for control. It is because control is no longer under threat. The safe room has done its work, and in doing so, it has made space for connection without pressure. When the safe room remains, even after trust. Even when trust deepens, the safe room does not disappear. Cats do not replace safety with attachment. They layer one on top of the other. The room remains part of their internal map, not as a retreat, but as a reference point they no longer need to question. A cat may spend more time in shared spaces, sleep closer, or follow household routines more openly, yet still return to the same room during moments of fatigue or change. This does not signal regression. It reflects a stable system that does not need to be dismantled to make room for closeness. Security for cats is cumulative. What once protected them continues to exist quietly in the background, ensuring that new experiences do not erase old assurances. What the chosen room teaches us about cats. The room a cat chooses tells a story that words never could. It reveals how carefully they listen to their own limits, and how seriously they take emotional regulation. Cats do not wait until they are overwhelmed to seek safety. They respond early, gently, and without apology. This is often misunderstood as avoidance, but it is closer to wisdom. The cat is not withdrawing from life, but managing it in a way that preserves their sense of agency. They move toward peace before chaos demands it. In noticing this, we are invited to slow down as well, to respect spaces that exist not for productivity or interaction, but simply for being. Cats remind us that safety does not have to be dramatic to be real. Sometimes, it is just a quiet room that remains available. When the safe room changes, but safety does not. Sometimes the room itself changes. Furniture moves, routines shift, or life introduces new sounds and presences that alter the familiar shape of the space. When this happens, a cat may pause, reassess, or choose a different room altogether. What changes is the location, not the need. Cats do not cling to places out of nostalgia. They respond to how a space currently feels. If the original room no longer offers the same predictability, the cat adapts by building safety elsewhere, often quietly and without protest. This flexibility is often mistaken for indifference, but it is resilience. The cat carries the memory of safety within their body, and when conditions change, they recreate it where they can. What mattered was never the room itself, but the state of calm it allowed them to return to. That one room your cat keeps returning to may look empty or unremarkable to you, but to your cat, it is full of quiet agreements. Nothing unexpected will happen here. No one will insist. No one will rush the moment. By choosing that space, your cat is not hiding from life. They are maintaining balance within it. They are listening to their own limits and responding with care. And sometimes, understanding a cat does not begin with what they do in front of us, but with where they go when they need peace. If you've noticed your cat returning to the same room again and again, especially during change, you're already witnessing a form of communication. These choices are subtle, but they are deliberate. If you'd like to continue exploring the quiet emotional language cats use, the kind that doesn't ask for attention, you're welcome to stay here. Subscribing helps this channel continue creating calm, reflective stories about the inner lives of cats. Sometimes, the most important place in a cat's world is the one where nothing happens at all.